In this episode of the Exploring Information Security podcast, why cybersecurity professionals should go to St. Louis for ShowMeCon.
Computers now have primary control of critical functions.
Houston, recommend vector transfer.
Your go for APU shutdown on time.
Roger, go for deploy.
Nice to be in orbit.
Welcome to the Exploring Information Security podcast, where you will learn, explore, and grow your security mindset. I am your host, Timothy D. Block, and in this episode, we'll be exploring ShowMeCon 2025. With me to do that is Dave Chronister, the founder of ShowMeCon and Parameter Security, and Brooke Denon, who is running the conference. So she is Dave's right-hand person to pretty much make sure everything runs smooth, and I absolutely love ShowMeCon. It always runs smooth, so Brooke does a really, really great job. Show notes can be found at explorsec.com/EIS. Feedback for the show, timothy.dblock@explorsec.com. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. Let me know you listen to the podcast, and I will happily connect. And then if you want to help out the show, you can rate the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. So this is a sponsored episode. ShowMeCon does sponsor me to promote the content and some of the speakers that are coming to ShowMeCon. I have a promo code, so if you're looking to get $50 off of training or a ticket, you can put in ExploringSec on the website when you check out, and you'll get $50 off. So, first time also in the history of the podcast that I have a discount code to hand out, which is kind of cool. But I talked to some people last year. I was like, oh, it's a sponsored episode. So I'm trying to balance that out because it's a really, really great conference. It's something I believe in. Yes, I'm getting some money for this, but it's more about just promoting the conference, which is what I want to do. And Dave is a big supporter of the podcast, so it's just kind of a really great partnership there. But I'm still having on people to have really great discussions about what they're going to talk about, how excited they are at ShowMeCon. We'll get into some of the different stuff within the industry. I feel like I try to pull out something, so I'm still trying to have some really good conversations with people, and so the format doesn't change. It's just there's a little bit backing behind it that kind of helps me with the fact that I do this on my spare time. So conference dates are June 9th and 10th. Training is 6th through the 8th. We will be doing the training podcast too, so you'll get a better understanding of what's going to actually happen at the training. So definitely check those out. And again, really good conversations. I've already recorded one with the topic of Windows forensics and incident response that was really good. And you can hear me and JC, who did that one, talk about some of our experiences and things like that. So again, still having great conversations. There are forensics, intrusion detection, mastering InfoSec, hands-on hacking are all 3-day courses available. You have the API pen testing and web app pen testing are both 1 days. So we'll definitely check that out. The venue is Ameristar Casino and Resort, and there's a block for that, $180 a night that you have to reserve by April 24th. St. Louis is such a great town for family. I always plan to go every year and bring my family, and there's a free zoo, there's a free science center, they've got free museums downtown, and it's in St. Charles too, which is another really great spot. And they're kind of blowing up and continuing to grow. But it's just a really good opportunity with the kids being out of school to take a mini vacation and maybe go to a security conference as well too. So my kids love the pool at the hotel that has music that plays underwater, so they spend some time in there. But with that, like I mentioned, we're going to get with Dave and Brooke and kind of talk about what's in store for ShowMeCon 2025.
Headphones.
I'm like, I've got AirPods somewhere.
Oh, it's fine. I've had other people on, and yeah, usually you want like a good microphone, but it's not a requirement.
Yeah.
To me, it's more about the content, right?
That's right.
Dave's got a majority of the talking anyways, I'm sure.
Not this time. You're talking about everything.
All right, we'll start with Brooke then. What's ShowMeCon, Brooke?
Oh gosh. This is where I lean on Dave really to take the floor, because he's got all the background. I just look at it from the fun side, what you get when you're there, what we do on the front end or on the back end, I guess. But ShowMeCon, I don't come from an InfoSec background at all. More so on the technology side, but thinking software more so. So now coming over and seeing everyone get together, it's really fun. And I think anyone even not in InfoSec can appreciate it and appreciate what a fun experience it is and how unique it seems, I think specifically to St. Louis from what I've heard, but also just kind of in general getting together for a conference.
Yeah, I have to laugh because what's funny is you always hear when you're a business owner, you hear about a visionary and an integrator / operations person. And I think, Brooke, you and I are the perfect example of that, because I have a great vision of the conference, but if I was the only one putting it on, you would show up to an empty room, because nothing would get done. I just sit there and just start to get really freaked out about it. And Brooke makes the vision happen. So yeah, like Brooke said, the big thing about the conference is I've done security conferences for a year. We're going 18 years in business at Parameter, and I've been doing conferences since the beginning of that all over the world, over 20 countries. And I found that there's different types. And really, when St. Louis has been really needing one that really focused on empowering the education of the information security professional. A lot of them these days are dog and pony shows. And then you get the other ones that are, quote, hacking cons, which are great. You learn, I call those are for like the researchers, security researchers, some of these big ones where it's like, hey, I broke into an ATM and this is how I got in, but by the way, it's already fixed. That's great. You maybe get a little nugget. That's really good for deep dive IT or InfoSec nerds. But for us, it's for your IT and your everyday InfoSec people. Where can I learn things from industry professionals? So we do it in a really nice venue. Really nice lunch, it's very corporate with the hacker community style speaker. Tim, you've been there a few times. You've been a speaker at quite a few of them. So, yeah. So from your standpoint as a speaker and as an attendee, what's ShowMeCon to you?
Yeah. Well, I think you were underselling the nice because it's in the Ameristar Casino. I will tell you, like, out of all the venues I go to, and, again, some B-sides, you're not going to get the nice venues. Yeah. But as you're talking about, like, the paid conferences and things like that, I think Ameristar is the best one I go to because it's self-contained. If you want to go gamble, you can go gamble a little bit. If you want, but if you want to go down and grab a meal, like, and you guys provide all the food and like full-size candy bars and all the things that you could want, you can still get away from the conference and go down and enjoy a meal, an adult beverage, things like that. And then I remember the first year I was there, I took a picture of the hotel room and my wife was absolutely jealous because the view was phenomenal. The room was amazing. It's like a two level room. It was like the main level, and then you step down into the the living area, if you will. I will say I was disappointed in my view last year because I got a shot of the Mississippi River, and that is not a pretty sight.
Oh yeah. It can be, but sometimes not really.
Yeah. Well, and again, there's only so many rooms, but I do remember that's my vision. I probably should grab I think I still have the picture. Let me write that down and see if I can't post it on here because it's really great. Ever since then, we've talked about that because of where it's at in June. Like, I bring my family when we go to this conference, and they go and enjoy St. Louis. They enjoy the hotel. Like, as far as like the venue goes, it's really great. But to your point about the content at the conference, it is phenomenal. Like, I could go sitting and talks all day, but oftentimes I end up just talking to a lot of great people in the hallways, whether that's a vendor or whether that's someone new I know or someone I'm trying to catch up with. Like, it's a really, and it's a very welcoming thing too, right? Yeah. It's a very welcoming, I guess, environment. That's with the layout as well too. But you guys run it really, really well, and things run smooth. Because I've been to conferences where it can be a little bit hectic, or like the food hasn't showed up. It's like on time type of stuff, and this includes breakfast, snack, lunch, snack again, and then after hour. It runs like clockwork.
Well, I can tell you that's Brooke. That's 100% Brooke. Before she talks,
Mhm.
again, I got brought into a couple things, but most of the time it was Brooke going, "Hey, just to let you know, this was happening, this was happening, this was happening," and the venue. Not only is the place nice, they're actually putting out over $1 billion in revamping that area, the conference area, and expanding it. The people are amazing. So Mike over there, we've been working with him since 2013, and what's great is him and Brooke, and I'm trying to remember who our new contact was there.
Zoe,
that's right, Zoe. This is our first year working with Zoe, and it was great. The hiccups aren't quite as bad as
Well, and you're going to have hiccups, but I think you guys like hide it. That means that there's a really well run conference. Then that nothing's blowing up. There are little hiccups here and there, but they're minor, and no one ever notices it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think our worst complaint this year was we ran out of hand sanitizer at one point. So that's a hiccup I can handle.
Yeah. Go wash your hands instead.
Yeah.
Hand sanitizer, only mask it. And we've talked about it, and we were mentioning it before. My vision is just to have more of these, and the good and the bad of having it at the Ameristar is now the venue has become part of the conference. So how do we do that again? And that's a Boyd Gaming, and they have places all over the country, but none of them are in metropolitan areas like this that you would have in the St. Louis area. Biloxi, Mississippi. No one's going to come to Biloxi. So we have to find good places. I know, Tim, you've been helping me try to find good venues in the Nashville area. And then we have our friend Arnar in Reykjavik who's helping us find good things. He's like, you need to come up. We'll go look at places. So yeah. And about it being welcoming, I've been in conferences where it's very much of a divide between the speakers and the attendees, a lot of egos, and a lot of these people I knew from speaking or teaching with them, and I got to know them well, and it was like, I have a prerogative of probably up to half the speakers I invite every year, and what I make sure to do is number one, I want to be with someone I like. If someone's an asshole, I don't want them at my conference, because if I feel that way, I'm sure everybody else will feel that way, or a lot of people will feel that way. I want people that are passionate and people that get that, hey, we're not looking for a magic show. We're looking for good information people can take with them. And there's a good group of people. And, and like Tim, I consider you a friend. All my friends these days are out of town. And that was the thing from 2024 or 2020 to 2023 or until 2024 is I didn't get to see my friends even. And I get a chance to host them. They get to show their specialties and everybody wins that way. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, and last year was really great. And me and Johnny talk about this like all the time. I think we talked about it last year when we got on the podcast, was like people take notes. So like you were saying, people get stuff take away. And being from a speaker perspective, you don't always see that at conference. Like,
right.
Like I think actually we were at B-Sides Huntsville and I was doing my application security talk, and there's a kid in the front row just trying to stay awake. But there's Dave and his crew in the background that are taking notes. And Dave actually walked up to me after. He's like, we're going to steal half your stuff. And I was like, please, like, if it makes the world a better place, please do. But that's what you get from everybody at ShowMeCon is you got people in there with notebooks taking notes. And like, from a speaker's perspective, that's really nice to see, as someone that can hopefully take something back to their organization the next day, the next week, and, add some value to that you may have provided.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would encourage anyone that is interested in speaking, get a hold of us, like put it in. And, I have a team of people that are rating the speakers, and you may not get in, but the thing is if you can get on my radar, I know a lot of conference, organizers, and even like, B-Sides, B-Sides St. Louis is coming back as well. A lot of those people volunteer for ShowMeCon, and they're always looking for good new people. So I've actually had about 2 or 3 people reach out. I had someone that's like, "Hey, can I have a meeting with you?" I'm like, "Sure." And she's like, I'm wanting to do this for talks. Absolutely. Like, I can't guarantee you're going to get in, but start to form it out. There's, I know there's a lot of imposter syndrome for first-time speakers. And I think a lot of it is especially if you're dedicated information security, you can feel that everybody knows just as much as you, if not more. At my conference, a lot of the people aren't even InfoSec. They're IT. So they don't know as much as you. And even if they do, it's usually in a particular area. And by the way, I have talked to people, my specialties are malware and social engineering sort of things. Jason Street does social engineering. I learned something new from him every time. So there's no problem with learning to speak. And I found in my career, the 2 things that got me to understand concepts more than anything else was teaching and speaking, because I had to learn stuff to be successful in both those. And if you want to be a great InfoSec person, doing those 2 things are amazing.
Yeah. I mean, teaching others, because that's, I can think back. My first one was 2017, maybe 2016. No, 2016, because I missed 2019 because we had a trip planned, which was unfortunate because in the next year he shut down. But anyways, I did one on like how to build a homeland, which I was like, no one's going to want to come to this. But I was like, and it gave me an opportunity too to one, challenge myself to speak, but then 2, to actually put content together from a demo technical standpoint. But this is something that I was like, all my talks do, like people are like, oh, you speak all the time, you must know this stuff. It's like a lot of my talks were put together on the fly as I was doing them at a job, right? So building a home lab while I was trying to learn, I was like, well, maybe someone else will get something out of this. And I remember ShowMeCon was one of my favorite places to do it because the room was absolutely packed. Like every chair was taken. It was wall to wall with people standing up, and it was to me one of my best talks. But it's that can be intimidating or it can be a challenge, and I really took a lot away from that. And that was one of the first times I felt like, oh, well, maybe I am kind of good at public speaking. Yeah, and it felt really good to do it as well too. So like to your point, even if you feel like you don't have something, you can contribute something. And I've seen the same from other people, especially if you want to learn something new. I will tell you, I put together an API talks. I've been in application security. Yeah. Had a little bit of experience with APIs. Everyone's like, oh, you know APIs. I'm like, yeah. But then once I put a talk together, it really forced me to dig in even more and learn even more. So it's even just a good learning opportunity that you just kind of then present to other people. And you can get good feedback from people. Yeah. Too. Yeah. And to your point, kind of a point you made, you didn't probably point out, but you're going to be a successful speaker if it's something you're passionate about and know a little something about, right? So like I said, I've run Parameter 18 years. At this point, I do not consider myself a cybersecurity professional. I hold certifications. I have a background in it, but I haven't done a pen test in 7-8 years. I help manage incident response. I do some QSA work, very little. I'm a business owner now. So where's my passion? Where is my expertise, and why don't I speak at ShowMeCon anymore? Because that's not my audience I want to address anymore. My audience is C-level people, is business owners, CEOs, even CTOs and CISOs, understanding why your security program needs to be more than just technical solutions, why you need to have a plan, how to mitigate risk, how to do, all of that stuff. If I came in, I've done talks before. You're talking application security. I've done a talk about application security. That's probably one of my worst talks because I knew theoretically how to do it, but I absolutely had no joy in it. And I did it for an ISACA meeting here, and it's like, stick with what you know, what you like, and you're going to be successful. And there'll be someone interested. Someone will be interested in it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say too, like you say technical, but I will say I've got a lot out of the keynote speakers around, because a lot of them are supposed to be more like generalized and more, I guess, talk about how we as an industry are kind of acting, right? And so there's a question around that. I remember JC's talk specifically talking about that, but just all the other keynotes too, like gave you something. And then you also have like a CISO panel. So I think it's a little bit of and you can still, even being a technical person, you can learn from that. Cause that's one of the things I find that individual contributors and technical people struggle with is kind of some of the politics and understanding like why decisions are made. It's like, yeah, we're making an exception, or we're not doing a certain activity because of XYZ, and actually have an understanding of that can lead to less frustration. Cause I've been there as well too. I'm speaking from experience of being like, why are we doing it this way? Makes no sense.
Right.
And then once you understand that stuff, like I think that can really open your eyes to, as long as you're willing to receive that message, is you open your eyes to some of that's how things operate within a business.
Yeah. Speaking of keynotes, we're going to have some amazing keynotes. Contracts aren't signed yet, but I have some verbals from some pretty heavy hitters this year.
That's good.
And again, one of them's an attorney, and I will say he was a former U.S. Attorney General for a state. Like,
okay.
Very connected sort of guy. And I think those are interesting because, I know this guy because I used to run IR engagements for him, and I still do every once in a while. But I don't understand regulations from a legal standpoint like he does. I don't understand what's coming down the pipeline. He does. And I'm sure people, if I'm running a third-party audit or IR firm, and I don't understand it as well as he does, so-and-so in an IS department or IT department, whatever company doesn't get it either. So I think those are going to be good. I think JC and Kevin knocked it out apart. Jeff Mann and Wynn, like those are some great talks. Jeff's coming back this year. We've already confirmed with him. So we've got some good stuff. We have a particular podcast that will be running there.
Which podcast is this? I didn't hear you on a different podcast than mine, by the way, which I wasn't going to bring up until you mentioned podcast.
Oh, that was 2.5 hours. Oh my goodness.
And I went through it.
I thought they were going to cut that thing down 2.5 hours.
No, and that podcast was really great. I don't get jealous, but
it was what's awesome is, and what I think is great is the fact that there's multiple podcasts. So this one was about people in the InfoSec community becoming business owners. Mm-hmm. Such a niche area. And and yours is about, let's go over the different areas of information security, right? And so I always look at it and I'm like, well, I get a lot of college kids going, hey, I want to get into cybersecurity. Okay, what do you want to do with cybersecurity? I want to do cybersecurity. Okay, well, go listen to Tim's Exploring Information Security and get an idea of the things out there. Yeah. I want to start a business. All right, go listen to Hackers to Founders and get an idea of when it's good, when it's not so good. And I think it's really neat having these different niche podcasts. It's been a good time.
You're absolutely right. Like I've actually been hit up by university instructors that are like, I assign your podcast episodes to my class, which I'm like, oh, that's cool. I've been cited. One of my favorite sightings has been in a Canadian like government document that says these are the cybersecurity podcasts you'd be listening to. And
nice.
One of 5, which is awesome. So
the craziest one I have, we're getting off on a tangent here.
Oh, that's fine.
Where I met Kevin Johnson, we both keynoted Tampa, B-Sides Tampa. God, that was years ago. I don't think it's on here. I think like 2013. It doesn't matter. So at the time, I was doing a lot of training, and there was a training company that would put out releases, and I always did their official CISSP and all their EC Council stuff. And after the conference, I had 2 people come up to me. One, she's from Iceland. She said, my friend Arnar told me to tell you hi. I'm like, okay, hi. The second one, this woman came up and goes, it's really weird. I subscribe to your CISSP and I listen to you on the way to work every day. as a study guide. She goes, it's so weird to hear your voice and seeing it come out of a body. That's a little weird, but yeah.
We should turn your voice now into like, you know, we can have it like a ringtone or directions for like your Google Maps.
There you go.
An AI voice.
Yeah.
Mispronouncing
I have not
everything
done it yet. Yeah, Brooke, if you ever want me to have him say something for you that he would never say, I can absolutely do that.
I'm going to have to keep that in mind now.
That might be a good presentation for this year. Let's talk about AI and how to do.
Let's create a deep fake Dave.
Yeah. Actually,
Gary. You know what? Having a deepfake Dave is going to give you absolutely nothing. I have no power to anything. It will give you nothing because the best you can do is spoof to my wife and she'll be like, yeah, whatever. I'm not listening.
That's not Dave. Yeah.
You mentioned you missed 2019 and then we didn't have 2020. I'm going to just kind of say 2020 had it ran was going to be a shit show. Because I tried to run it myself. I know Brooke's seen the notes. So for those of you that didn't meet Brooke last year, I decided to start to run this again in October. And I made the announcement. I had a few drinks. I made the announcement. And
it feels like you make a lot of important decisions when you're drinking, by the way.
A really bad decision when I'm drinking. And I, through Parameters, our advisory firm, I needed an admin, and Brooke came on board. What was that, like January 3rd, Brooke?
Yeah.
And she was supposed to do half ShowMeCon, half Parameter. I remember saying to her, so I did a thing. I'm starting a conference again, and I am so over my head on anything. And she's just like, yep, let's do it. So, yeah. She's gone on to bigger, better things. She's now an executive, sales executive for a company, and she's always traveling. But she came back and she goes, "I definitely want to keep working on ShowMeCon." So thank God that's going to happen, and quality will keep going. If you ever hear me running this myself, there's a problem.
It's something that coming into, and I think, Dave, you bring up an interesting point of last January, and you're talking me through what ShowMeCon was and what you want it to be now, bringing it back. And I have to be honest, and I've told you this, I had no idea what the hell to expect. I was like, well, here are a lot of great ideas. I cannot picture a damn thing. So stepping in kind of felt like a shot in the dark, but the way we pulled it together and then just actually experiencing the 3 days and the before and the after, I remember I came to you and said, this felt more like a passion project at the end, just how much I loved it and seeing it all come together. So, yeah, even moving forward with some other endeavors, but sticking around with ShowMeCon it really is a treat. It's fun.
Like ShowMeCon just sucks you in. I keep coming back. Yeah.
I think that's something interesting too, is that, and anything and everything that I do and don't know about InfoSec community is exclusively from Dave. I genuinely have no clue, but I enjoy the event side of it, which I think has been fun. But I think seeing it come to life and kind of ShowMeCon's own community within InfoSec was really something special for especially an outsider to see coming into it.
Yeah. What's interesting about it is there's stuff people probably don't think about. Conferences cost, and we spend, like you said, it's a very nice facility. And so like one of the stresses I know Brooke kept stressing about is people are not buying tickets and the bill just keeps going up, and we're like, well, they buy them the last 3 weeks. We're supposed to give a number 4 weeks before the event, and most of our ticket sales happen after that, and it was that whole, well, let's just have faith. Don't worry. Worst comes to worst, we go bankrupt. And people came in. I love the fact for ShowMeCon, it just makes me happy to see everyone, and I've gotten to know a lot of people there. Parameter does some business from there, but more than anything, it's like it's a community. It's a big community on its own for people that normally wouldn't get into like 2600 Club or, some of the other hacky cons or getting to DEF CON or something like that. And it's really fun. Lots of great men and women that show up that I've gotten to know through that. Like Tim, I'm sitting here trying to remember, where did we first see each other? It wasn't ShowMeCon, or were we introduced?
I think we were introduced to ShowMeCon. I honestly cannot remember who told me, but I want to say it was John. He said you should apply.
Yeah.
You should put in your paper for ShowMeCon because I'd never heard of it.
Yeah.
He's like, they treat you amazing. And so I submitted and luckily got accepted. I think that was my how to build a home lab talk, and I got accepted. And then I think we met at the actual conference. I wasn't
Gotcha. Yeah. No, it's great. Your wife and I had a discussion. Tim came through in December, and I'm like, now that you've seen everything in St. Charles, which again, it's a great area, go downtown. And there's a lot of good stuff in downtown St. Louis. So we're 10 minutes from the airport. That area is the first, it's the historic area. It's the first capital of the Missouri. It was also the Spanish capital of what was become the Louisiana Purchase. It's where Lewis and Clark took off from. So everything's Lewis and Clark. And a lot of it's back from the 1800s. In fact, our office that we had there was from 1864. And it's one of the newer buildings on that street. And that's just a walk from the casino. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what's we're kind of getting close to time. What's new for the conference this year? Like
we brought back training. So this is something that we did for years, pre-con training. And we have, I think, 5 classes. We have a hands-on hacking. We have API testing. We have web testing. We have IDS, IPS. We have setting up security program, more of a policy, how to actually do policy. And then we have a forensics DFIR class. And you can get it on the website. Kevin Johnson and Jennifer from Secure Ideas are running the API and the web, and those are a day each. One's on Saturday, one's on Sunday. The rest of them are 3-day courses. Myself, JC Carruthers, Dan Yarger, James Gilkey, and I'm trying to remember the gentleman's name who's running the IDS class. But we're really going to get deep in depth. Other than that, speakers are staying the same. We did start a new platform, which I think is more helpful for Brooke and I. Before everything was done via Word documents and Excel spreadsheets.
Yeah.
And that doesn't get all messed up. But we're using a platform that allows us to actually do a true call for papers, do scoring. We'll have some stuff like that. CPEs will be a lot easier. You no longer have to email us asking for them. You can generate them yourself. So am I missing anything, Brooke?
I don't think so. Those are the big hitters, at least.
Oh, I have one. Aaron, Lintel is going to be doing he's going to be doing a game show for our after ShowMeCon party.
Is he doing the Hacker Jeopardy?
I don't know which one. I have to get with him.
Okay. So he's got a couple. It's usually like, and I've been to him before, and they're fantastic. So
yeah.
I'm glad that Lintel's coming back.
Yeah, we do. We have a Meta CTF coming to do the CTF. We're going to have Lockpick Village. I would say if anybody, we do have the village. We have we have an area we're trying to do for more community. If anybody has any ideas or some cool clubs that they want to present, we'd be more than happy to hear about it.
Please.
Yeah, info@showmecon.com.
info@showmecon.com. The guy
ShowMeCon.com, yeah.
Anthony, I don't know how to say this. Bob.
Anthony Bob. Yeah.
Bob, yeah. I am brutal with last name, so I apologize.
Oh, me too. I apparently say my own last name wrong. It's Chronister, and I say Chronister. So
everyone says Chronister.
I know. I think that's how it's supposed to be pronounced, but apparently and I say this word wrong. St. Louis. I say St. Louis wrong. My wife and everybody reminds me it's St. Louis. And I'm like, no, it's St. Louis. So it's my St. Louis accent.
What else is new?
Man.
Or is it just kind of you guys are just trying to get you talked about also expanding out to Nashville, and it should be amazing. So,
I would say what would be awesome. So some of the stuff we're wanting to do is we're wanting to make this more cities. I think having it under the 1,000 attendee limit is going to be great in a lot of these cities, but we want to really make them hometown conferences at different areas. So, again, why did we pick Nashville? Well, someone on this podcast was like, you need to come to Nashville.
I did.
Well, you and Win Chartreux and, Nashville's it's far enough away. If this was a 5,000 person event, that's too close. You're right. And then Arnar Gunnarsson's like, you're going to do Reykjavik. And so when a Viking tells you you're going to do something, you do it. But we're really wanting to do more of this in more cities. Again, right now it's just Brooke and I, and we are part-timers, right? Because we both have full-time jobs.
Yep.
And we talked about we may have to start to bring some full-timers in, but some of the other things, starting for 2026, we're going to release a call for training. This year we got the trainers we knew, or people we knew to do the training just to make sure we had high quality, but we're going to do call for training. So anybody that is interested in training, we're going to do that. Still call for speakers, really looking to expand that village, man. Like I went to Paz Hack Days in Moscow. Best village I've ever seen. Like they had phone booths, old phone booths you could freak on. They had amazing CTF with a video wall that looked like a cross between Galaga and asteroids. Whenever you got a flag, it would kill someone. They even had a SCADA device. This was put on by the company that ran the infrastructure for Russia, for all of Russia, right? So they created a SCADA device, a SCADA CTF that mirrored Russians' critical infrastructure down to the patches. And what was cool was this thing was probably as big as this room, probably 50 feet. I don't even know how, but 20 feet by 15 feet. And they had a train going around. They had water. They had traffic lights.
Oh,
so
nice.
if you were able to actually hack it, it would change it. People found 0 days. And this was their critical infrastructure for Russia. So I'd love to do stuff like that. And we'd love to find people that have passions about doing that. Get a hold of us. I don't want to do everything internally. I want people that, some people's passions speaking, other people's passions is CTF, other people's passions is welding, and that's interesting to all of us dorks,
I think especially thinking as we expand in the future years too, like no matter where you're located, who knows if that's where we're going to be next. So definitely a good repository to start building now with that.
Yeah. Get a hold of us now. And, if we're going between two cities and we're trying to debate the two, if one has more people that want to be involved, we'll probably go there. Right. Because conferences are very, conferences are not Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. Conferences are can be very profitable, can be very nerve-wracking, and can collapse very quickly. So, and if you can't make it to us, support your local con. Go to the B-sides. Go down to NOLACon, GERCon, any of those. Those are all good times.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yours is, so I got training for June 6th through the 8th of this year. And then the conference is June 9th and 10th. And the training comes with a ticket to the actual conference, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be included too. So, all right, cool. What else do you want to mention about ShowMeCon for this year?
We will be giving, Exploring Information Security will be giving you a discount code. If anybody wants to join us.
Really?
Yes.
I love it.
Yes. I didn't tell Brooke this, but we made that decision. I'm not even drinking and I'm making decisions. I don't know what's going on.
A couple beers for lunch.
It's gone. I wish. We will, we'll be sending that out. Please get a hold of us. The training's going to be great. Tim, thank you so much for supporting the conference. Like, it's been awesome having you do this, and then you're helping us with our speakers and stuff. We'll have some amazing speakers and have them on the podcast, and it'd be great. Brooke?
No, I mean, just echoing your words, I am so excited for ShowMeCon. I hope everyone is equally as excited. And definitely reach out to us, questions, thoughts, concerns this year, next year, beyond. I think we definitely thrive off that feedback because it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of moving parts too. So, but super excited for it and hope everyone else is as well.
No, you guys do a really great job with it. Again, that's why I keep coming back. And I know several of the other people, again, like I said, I catch up with a lot of people I don't get to see on a regular basis necessarily. Some people I do, but others it's like, it's a nice coming together. Are you able to announce or talk about the theme for this year?
Yes, it is Fallout.
Okay.
So Fallout. And what's interesting is we were going to do that last year. And again, I had all these plans in October, and it was me and Brooke who had never run a conference before. She'd done events, and that kind of went to the wayside. So it was kind of weird if anybody got any of our postcards. Like we just turned it into mid-century modern look, right? But then our postcard had these like bees on it, and it was supposed to be like killer bees. And it's like that's kind of weird now. But we're doing Fallout. Our little Pit Boy, because of trademark, he looks a little different, but we just want to have fun with it. So yeah, it's going to be a Fallout theme, post-apocalyptic. See, I can't say that word either. Apocalyptic theme. So I'm kind of thinking about making all the volunteers wear the jumpsuits.
Oh,
that would be good. That would be good.
I think I still have like my Navy jumpsuit. I might bring that and wear that around.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I went down a rabbit hole one night. I'm like, once to have badges, we can give everybody Pit Boys, and kind of go down that whole DEF CON really high end badge. I'm like, that's just a whole cluster.
Yeah.
That could just happen. Well, we won't do that, but we'll have some cool badges. We'll have some cool t-shirts, and it'll be a good thing.
I definitely think the shirts are the best because I still have mine all because you've done that's why I asked about the theme because you do a theme every year, which is great, right? And yeah, you've done some other ones where again you're kind of on the edge of trademark, but it's all fair use, man. Because you're training, it's a training opportunity, right?
The Galaxy Far Far Away one had us a little nervous towards the end. That was like a Dos 9 years ago.
It was also like a combination of like a Dos Equis. It was like I don't always expel your data, but when I do, I take all of your data.
Right, yeah. These were I came up with those talk about drinking. Those were parameter happy hours. And that was also it was ShowMeCon 3. Return of the dormant cyber pathogens. Do you remember those? That was an international news where we apparently got attacked by dormant cyber pathogens. Do you remember that?
No. What year was this?
This is 2016. Dormant cyber pathogens. A politician actually brought that up.
I think I remember that.
Yeah. And so very, 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 these days people go, what does that mean? My Dos Equis one I still have. It's got RDT2 on it. So
yeah. No, it's really cool. I like to bring those to the conference and wear them around because they're vintage at this point.
Well, what's crazy is people will do that and then they'll bring their badges and they'll have multi-year badges. And I'm like, that's kind of neat. The coolest thing, there's so many cool things. So everything's the coolest thing. We had vendor tell me, he goes, Monday we actually throw a little party, a little side party for ShowMeCon. He's like, I hope you're not mad. Like, are you kidding me? Like, if other people are throwing parties at my con, that's kind of a big deal, right? So, it's a good time.
It usually means that people are getting drawn there, and people
getting drawn there, and people see it as a business opportunity. So
Well, I will tell you, I'm gonna try to put like a golf thing together of some sort. It probably just be small, but would love to see it expand over the year where it's like a day before or something. People that are interested in golf can do that. But
that'd be awesome.
Let me get you in touch with someone after we get done recording.
Oh, I already know who to talk to. We talked about it last year.
Okay. Good. Same guy. Probably
the same guy. Yeah. Well, Brooke, Dave, again, thank you for coming on and talking about ShowMeCon. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.